Welcome to Indigenous Visionary Plant Traditions, a conversation hosted by moderator J.P. Harpignies at a Bioneers conference with Kat Harrison, Julieta Casimiro, Maria Alice Campos Freire, Margaret Behan, and Bernadette Rebienot. We hope you enjoy it. We join the conversation as it begins.
All right, so welcome to this historic occasion. You probably all know that this weekend the Bioneers Conference is profoundly delighted and to have the wonderful council of 13 Indigenous grandmothers here with us this weekend. We have found that some of the most profoundly sophisticated cultures who have the most to teach us about the human relationship to the web of life are cultures in which a main sacred plant is fundamental to their worldview. And we believe very strongly that in order for us to reverse the ecocidal trajectory of our civilization, we need to profoundly change our view of our relationship to nature, and not just our view, but our visceral experience of our relationship to the natural world. So we find that we have a great deal to learn from those cultures who do have much more of that connection than we who have severed so many of our links to the natural world. Today's presentation may be the most exciting and the most significant of the ones we've ever had, because we have with us here today 4 very experienced and respected teachers from 4 very different cultures, representing 4 of the most important sacred plants used in the world. Iboga from Africa, ayahuasca from the Amazonian basin, psilocybin mushrooms from the Mazatec lands of Mexico, and peyote from the Southwest and from the Native American Church. So this is a rare opportunity. It's really perhaps unparalleled opportunity, and we're really excited to be able to host this event. But to introduce the 4 grandmothers who are here with us today, there's only one person that I felt had to be here that I wanted to turn to and have her take over, and that is Kathleen Harrison. Kat Harrison is someone who's been one of the longest-term allies of Bioneers, presenting from almost the very beginning. Here she is. So, in my view, she's someone who has perhaps done more than anyone else to build sensitive and informed bridges to Indigenous knowledge and communities, and trying to teach all of us about the profound humility and respect that we need to invoke in order to engage with the teachings that come from these cultures. She's done 30 years of field work in the Amazon, among the Mazatec, in Mexico and in other places. She's taught in many different contexts plant spirit and plant teachings here in the U.S. The other thing that Kat wanted me to mention is that she has 2 wonderful children, but she's not yet a grandmother, but that might change, and eventually she'll be her own council of grandmothers here. But without further ado, to introduce the 4 notable and deeply respected guests we have with us, here is Kathleen Harrison.
Thank you very much. Well, it's really an honor to be here. I'm glad you're all here too. This is a special treat, a special pilgrimage that all of these wonderful women have made to be at this event with us. All of the grandmothers, 4 who are going to share this seminar with us today. It's something that, in my experience, I've had to, and had the fortune to travel to other cultures to ask elders who work with the medicine how they see the world, how they use the medicine, how they understand what we have in front of us through the gifts of whatever medicine their culture understands. We're very honored to have teachers, practitioners, wise women in these medicine ways come to us instead of all of us seeking each of them out. We hope that they receive something valuable in return by sharing their understanding with us in this context. It's a worldwide exchange of gifts of understanding in these desperate times. Well, welcome to the 4 grandmothers who have just joined us, and to their helpers and translators as well. I'm going... And here beside me we have Margaret Behan, Red Spider Woman, an Arapaho Cheyenne from Montana, and member of the 5th generation of the Sand Creek Massacre's survivors. She is a Cheyenne traditional dancer, an artist, and an author. An Elkhorn Scraper clan mother, she practices traditional healing and ceremonial ways of the sacred medicine plant peyote. She has taught at many workshops and retreats for women, adult children of alcoholics, and codependents, and is currently researching generational trauma and cross-cultural post-traumatic stress syndrome. She says she was brought up by the medicine, by peyote. It is a way of life. Welcome.
Naniash, Piviwomst. I say, welcome. I have the medicine in me. Now I share it with you. My grandfather said my mother wanted to have a baby. So he had a tipi ceremony for her. So here I am. They prayed for me, and as she was carrying me, she ate the peyote, the medicine. And my grandfather said when they prayed in the tipi that they prayed for prayers, planted prayers for me. And my grandfather said that he was born through the peyote too. His mother ate peyote. So I asked my grandmother where this medicine came from. I asked many questions, and when they felt like it, they would tell me a story. And so I had to figure out which was the answer. Because as you know, there are many answers when I would ask my grandparents about the medicine. Of course, the first story is, yes, where did we get this medicine? I heard the story of Quanah Parker, who was a Comanche. He had one blue eye and had one white eye. His mother was German. His father was Comanche. He got very ill in Texas, and they took him to a curandero in Mexico. She doctored him, and he came back to his people. He brought this medicine. This other story that I liked was my grandmother's sister told me. For the Cheyenne, this mother was having her baby. She was in this prairie alone, and the mother came to her and gave her this medicine to eat as she was giving birth. As she finished with the birth of her baby, the mother told her, now you take this medicine to your people. That is the story that I like. So I tell my children the story, I tell my women, I tell my people at home. The mother giving birth to her baby was when the medicine came. So then I began asking questions to my grandparents. How did they eat this medicine? And my grandmother said, the women made the ceremony. So she said the medicine was very powerful. It overtook the patient. So these women had to call in the men to come and share this medicine with them. My grandfather, one day, these white people came to him and told him, our baby is very sick. The doctors said he's going to die. So our people told us to bring him to you. Indians have some kind of magic. My grandfather said, we have never did this before, Dr. White people. I have to go and ask my brothers, my people. So he went to ask his family and his brothers, the grandmothers, they said, he is alive, life. We honor life. We should doctor this baby. So they put up tipi and they did the ceremony, and the baby was well. The baby grew up, and the parents would remind the baby, do not forget those Indians. They helped you. You wouldn't be alive today. This man became a lawyer, and then he became a senator of Oklahoma. So in 1918, this man, Carl Cunningham, he came to my grandfather. He said, I can help you to legalize this ceremony, but we have to put it under church, because he knew that my grandfather and his brothers and my uncles, even my aunt, they went to jail for this medicine. So my grandfather went to his brothers again, and they told him, yes, we should have some kind of protection. So in 1924, it was legalized. My grandfather held the first charter for this Native American church, which was legal for the ceremony to use the peyote. I remember as growing up, my grandparents would go down to Texas and harvest the peyote in February, bring it back home. Many people came to our house. They wanted to get doctored. They wanted to use the medicine. So I grew up with this medicine, and especially knowing that my mother ate the medicine while she was carrying me in her womb. So my grandfather was very happy. Perhaps he saw that I would be sitting here talking to you about the medicine, because I have people coming to my house that are sick, and they ask for me to doctor them with the medicine. So I have many stories about the doctrines and curing that people have gotten well. I have seen the medicine cure cancer, Crohn's, alcoholism. I work with a lot of addicted people, and so far I have detoxed a meth addict in 16 hours by eating the medicine and going into ceremony. So I share that much with you about the peyote. Thank you.
Next, we welcome Julieta Casimiro, a Mazatec elder and curandera, or healer, from Huautla de Jimenez in Oaxaca, Mexico. She carries the tradition of healing and ceremonies connected with the use of sacred mushrooms, or the Niños Santos, the little holy ones. She teaches, lectures, and conducts her healing work internationally in the US, Europe, and Israel. Doña Julieta offers a unique weaving of indigenous pre-Hispanic ways and Christian traditions in her ceremonial work. She has said that the sacred mushrooms give you the light of understanding. Welcome.
Buenas tardes, hermanos y hermana Julieta Casimiro.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I am Julieta Casimiro.
Yo vengo a presentar mi trabajo este momento,
I come here today to present my work to you.
que yo trabajo los niños santo en mi tierra.
That I work what is called the Niños Santos in my pueblos in Mexico,
Que se llama honguito.
that are called the mushrooms.
que son medicina muy especial
that it is a very special medicine
para cualquier enfermedad
for whatever illness is present
que tenga uno.
that one has.
Más hay que saberlo a trabajar
But the important thing is that one must know how to work the
Y-
Niños Santos.
y pedirle la Madre Tierra más que nada.
And upmost, and to ask the Mother Earth,
Porque primero está Dios,
because first God is present
que todo lo demás,
above all,
pedirle perdón
to ask forgiveness
para que nos acepte
so it will accept us,
el perdón
the forgiveness
que le pedimos
that we ask,
para que nos dé
so that they will give us
la sanación
the healing.
con muchas oraciones,
Also with a lot of prayers present,
misterio santo
the mysteries
que se reza
that are prayed,
como hacemos nosotros en la Sierra Mazateca.
like we, the indigenous people of the Sierra Mazateca, do.
Los que se llama honguito no son cualquier cosa.
Certain mushrooms are not just anything.
Esto se hace con mucho respeto,
The rituals are done with a lot of respect,
con mucha
with a
educación
lot of education and understanding
para respetarle.
to respect the Niños Santos.
Porque solamente son agüita
Because they're only water
que suda la Madre Tierra.
that the Mother Earth is sweating.
Aunque los gobiernos o las autoridades,
Even if the governments or the legal authorities
que esto son droga.
in many ways talk that they are drugs,
Pero eso no son droga,
but they are not drugs.
son medicina.
It is a very powerful medicine
Que Dios los siembra
that God has seeded in our lands
cuando hay serenito.
when there's like planting.
Nadie los siembra.
Nobody plants them.
Cuando llega su tiempo,
When their time comes,
hay que buscarlo y guardarlo
we go out and look for them and we gather them
para la gente que quiere curar.
for people that come before us that want to heal.
No nada más se toma porque sí,
We just don't take them just to take them,
por vicio no.
and not out of addictions.
Solamente cuando la gente necesita curar.
Only when people need healing.
Y también no se toma como quiera.
And they're just not taken any careless way.
Se mide para tomarlo.
It's done very meticulously and carefully.
Yo tengo mucho tiempo de estar trabajando
I have many years of working with the Niños Santos
con los honguitos.
and with the mushrooms.
Yo tomé primero,
I first started taking the mushrooms
muchas veces.
many times.
Por eso es de que yo agarré el valor
And that's why I have come to the strength
de atender a la gente
to be able to know how to take care of people
que están enfermos,
that are sick,
que lo necesitan.
that need the mushrooms.
Se da de tomar a los honguitos ya tarde en la ceremonia,
The mushrooms are given in the ceremony
cuando ya está silencio,
when everything is very quiet and peaceful.
cuando no hay ruido, ya en la tarde, noche.
The ceremonies are done in the evening when the sun has gone down and the day is more peaceful.
Y por eso se le nombra estos niños sagrados
And that's why they are called sacred children
con respeto
with respect.
y pedir
And
mucho.
I asked a lot.
Hace uno mucho petición
In these rituals and ceremonies, we do a lot of petition
para Espíritu Santo.
for the Holy Spirit to come.
Esto se hace con mucho respeto
And this asking or petition is done with a lot of respect
porque los pacientes
because the patients or clients
tiene uno que explicarle también
has to be very careful in explaining the ritual and what is going to happen.
a la hora que se le da, en media hora
At the hour that they are given, 30 minutes into the ceremony,
ya empieza el efecto.
that's when the effect of the mushroom starts.
Yo estoy haciendo siempre 1 hora mi oración.
And at the beginning of the ritual, for an hour, constantly, I am praying
Para que la gente le dé luz,
so that the light will come to the people that come to heal.
luz de entendimiento, luz de la verdad.
A light of the truth, light of understanding.
Ya ve que siempre
As you know, always,
se nombran los 4 elementos,
the 4 elements are named in the ceremonies.
que es el agua,
That is the water,
y el sol,
the sun,
la lumbre,
the fire,
los cerros,
the mountains,
los duendes,
the divas,
a donde nos manda a nosotros.
where we are taken under the
Tener-
ceremonies.
Tenemos nuestra representación
We have our representation
donde se llama Cerro de Adoración.
that is called the mountain of adoration.
Allí está nuestro jefe, nosotros.
There is our chief, our chief,
Sí, y le llamamos Chinconindo,
and he is called
En Mazateco.
Chinconindo, in
Chicontocorro,
Chincocotorro.
Cotor.
Está bien.
Sí. Y por eso nosotros
And that is why
nos conformamos.
we get informed.
Estamos tranquilos, ya
When they come and we do this, we start to be peaceful.
a trabajar.
And we start the work.
Con música,
We start the music,
canto de alabanza,
very heightened
porque
songs.
eso es lo que quieren los honguitos.
Because that is what the mushrooms want and are calling for.
Ellos están contentos.
They are so happy.
Recibe tu canto.
They want to receive your songs.
Ellos también cantan.
They also sing.
Chifla
They
también.
also whistle.
Habla contigo.
They talk to you.
Son preciosos.
They are precious.
Necesita mucha oración.
They need a lot of prayer.
Y entregar el corazón profundamente para que la gente que ya se medicinó y está escuchando.
And at the same time, too, they give you their heart so that you will start healing.
Sí, hay que nombrarlo la Madre Tierra,
And again, we many times call in the Mother Earth.
como le acabo de decir, los 4 puntos cardinales.
Like I have also mentioned, we call in the 4 cardinal points.
Nombrar nuestras personas, nosotros, nuestro
We call,
astro.
we call ourselves in.
Sí, ya entonces ya la gente empieza a trabajar.
And then at these points where we are in the ceremony, then the work continues.
Ya empieza a dar cuenta a dónde está el mal.
And at this point in the ceremony, people come to understand their wounds, their suffering, their shadows
En su cuerpo.
in their body.
Si hay un poquito de cáncer al comienzo,
If there's a little bit of cancer at the beginning in the body,
se cura la gente.
people do heal.
A donde hay quiste en el vientre de nosotros que somos mujeres,
Where there is like female illnesses in the female organs,
habemos muchos que estamos enfermas de eso.
there are many of us females that are sick.
Yo le he hecho la mano a esas mujeres, hasta hombre también, que necesita tocarla.
And I make a lot of effort to bring healing to the woman and even men that are sick of their sexual organs.
Porque estos niños santos, pues, hace análisis.
Because another thing that the mushrooms do, that they do analysis of the organs.
Hace limpieza,
And they also do tremendous cleansings.
estudio,
They study you.
preparación.
They prepare you.
Y así, por eso nosotros lo trabajamos.
And this is the way we work it.
No crea que toda la gente lo hace, ¿no?
Do not be fooled, because not everybody works it like we do.
Hay que practicar lo bonito,
You have to practice. It's practice
porque los niños escuchan.
because the children listen to you.
Ellos son los que cantan,
The ni-
habla,
The Santo Niños are the ones that sing.
chifla
They whistle, they talk,
y se ríe también
and they
contigo.
laugh at you too.
Sí,
Yes.
ya. Cuando la gente dice, aquí me duele la
When,
espalda,
when people say, I am here and it hurts me here,
me duele mi estómago dentro del, cuando tiene el efecto,
my stomach hurts here under the effect of the mushrooms,
yo ya los toco con mis manos
and she comes and touches you with her hand,
y encuentro dónde está el mal.
and she knows exactly where the illness is.
Yo he curado mucha gente. Bueno, yo no, Dios lo cura.
She's, God, through me, I am a channel, has healed many, many people.
Sí, con mis manos ya le lo
And I've
toco,
done
¿no?
a lot of healing with the guidance of God with my hands.
Y así mi gente se pone contento.
And then my people are happy.
Yo le he dado mucha gente a los honguitos,
That I have brought a lot of clients to the mushrooms
con respeto,
with a lot of respect.
para que ellos estén contentos también.
So that they will be happy too.
Al otro día nadie se pone mal.
And then the following day, I know that everybody is happy and healthy.
Siempre mi gente se pone contento, que va de por aquí, va de México, de Oaxaca, de Puebla, de Tehuacán, de Italia, de Roma, de Suiza también llega mucha gente. Mi gente que me conoce a mí.
So I have many people all over the world that come to me, and for me it's always makes me very happy because they leave very, very healed. And for me, them leaving happy is very wonderful for me.
Hasta mismo los obispos
Even the bishops
y los sacerdotes
and the priest in my town
se lo toma conmigo.
take the Niños Santos with her.
Va en su pobre casa,
I come to their house
en la Sierra Mazateca.
in the Sierra where I live in Oaxaca.
Gracias, eso es todo.
Thank
lo
you.
que quería leer. Ahí tiene, ¿no?
The next grandmother is Maria Alice Campos Freire. She's from the spiritual community of Mapia, Brazil. She's a madrina in the Santo Daime tradition and in the Umbanda ceremonies. She's a healer and a founder of the Centro Medicina da Floresta. She uses Amazonian plant medicine and flower essences in her work. She's a passionate advocate for the preservation of the indigenous rainforest of the Amazon and its heritage. She has said that she works with many plants and other spirits from the forest and also with her ancestral grandmothers. The sacred tea called Santo Daime is also called ayahuasca or huasca in other Amazonian traditions. Welcome.
I feel very humble here to speak to all of you about this sacrament, because I'm just a channel to spread that truth that was taught to me. When we drink this holy sacrament, I represent here talking about Santo Daime, that is also ayahuasca, the holy medicine from Amazonian indigenous people, very ancient knowledge that after when Spanish people came to America, South America, and persecuted indigenous people, then those that had this secret, to preserve this secret, they ran into the forest and they kept this secret and they gave this to many healers. So this has been preserved by many healers in the forest. And some others, indigenous people, they lost their memory. They didn't know anymore that they were sons and daughters of this mystery. After a long time, a black man, Brazilian black man, that lived on the coast, that had this, he carried already in him African traditions and Christian knowledge also. He came into the Amazonian forest for his work, for the rubber. And he was introduced to this sacrament by an old healer of indigenous tribe. He was a preserver, and he didn't know what he was doing when he gave this to this man. Mestre Irineu, he was called, this black man. He received instructions when he took the sacrament. When he drank this, he had visions, and he was taught that he should go to the forest and fast and only eat a certain kind of root that is there for many days, and then he should prepare his own sacrament, and he should drink this, and he would understand something about his mission on the earth. And then he did this. He received guidance from the moon, and he saw an eagle in the moon. And in our language, Portuguese, the word eagle, it means, we say águia. It's the same as to say the guide. So he understood. The eagle came and told him the moon was his guide. And then he was focused in the moon, and the moon taught him how he should proceed, preparing this sacrament and sharing this with everybody, lots of people that were around him, the rubber tappers, people that worked in the forest, that had different origins. You were mixed people from indigenous with white people and black people. This is Brazilian, Amazonian people, this mixture, this blend of cultures and origins. And most of them, they were lost of their memory. They just only were there working hard and very in material struggle for life, but they didn't know what did they come to do in this earth, who really they were. So Mestre Irineu, he founded this doctrine of Santo Daime with these teachings that are Christian teachings, but not for domination, but for freedom. Because he also represented these people that have been dominated and persecuted, this race that has been slaves. So this is very profound mystery of the Christ also, because the Christ himself, Jesus Christ, he was also killed and persecuted. Many people that carry a cross in their hands and they say they are Christians, they are doing the same as the others that killed the Christ. So this Mestre Irineu is this holy sacrament that he received from indigenous people, from ayahuasca mystery. He could really do this understanding for him and for many people. And nowadays, all over the world, many people come to drink this and to cultivate those rituals in the Amazon forest. This mystery that is in this is the encounter of the male energy and the female energy. This is a vine and a shrub, a leaf of a shrub that come together. And this is one of the important mysteries. They will not have the same effect if they don't come together. And for them to come together, they need fire. They come from the earth. They need fire, they need water, and they need air. So this global unity, this is the principle of all life. And this is consecrated in this holy sacrament. Nowadays, people, even lots of indigenous people that lost their memories, they came to touch their memory through this sacrament, Santo Daime. They remind their own traditions and came back to ayahuasca. Nowadays, many of those indigenous tribes in Amazonia, they are translating the words of Mestre Irineu that are in Portuguese into their own original indigenous languages, not to do the way he did, but just to acknowledge and consecrate this mission of this man. And they are in this process of awakening their memories and rebuilding their cultures. So this is very important what's happening there in Amazon nowadays. All over the world, Santo Daime is calling people, when we drink this, is for us to remember who we are. This is to heal, especially, it can heal our body from lots of sickness. I have been healed from breast cancer, only drinking this. And many other people that come to us, and we have there our space for this healing, they can heal themselves. But especially what we are healing is our spirit from this loss of memory. That's the main problem of humanity, because if each one of us, we can remember the holy seed that Creator planted in us, there would not be any war, any sickness, disease, anything. So I could say lots of things, but this is the main important things I have to say about. And I am really very thankful and respectful and keeping with a lot of love this sacrament and being aligned with all indigenous people in my land and Amazonia and all over Brazil to preserve this from lots of possibilities of profanation that can come to us and persecution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grandmother Maria Alice. On my far left, on your right, is Bernadette Rebienot. She's born in Libreville, Gabon, in West Africa. She's of the Omyene linguistic community. She's a widow, a mother of 10, and grandmother of 23. Bernadette worked as an educator and a school administrator, and for the past 30 years, she's been a healer and a master of the lboga Bwiti Rite, in which she continues to offer initiations and consultations. Bernadette has participated in numerous national and international conferences on traditional medicine and has been the president of the Association of Traditional Medicine Practitioners for Gabonese Health since 1994. The root of the lboga plant holds a powerful spiritual medicine that's used in the West African Bwiti tradition. She has said that the spirits of the forest have told us that we can't go backwards anymore.
Our ritual is all the time we stay the whole night singing for Creator and all the elements. So I would like to invite my daughter to come here to sing a song that's calling the spirit of the sacrament.
Eu venho da floresta com meu cantar de amor. Eu venho da floresta
seus irmãos todos que vêm, todos trazem este ensino, todos trazem este ensino para aqueles que merecer, todos trazem este ensino para aqueles que merecer, não estando nessa linha nunca é de conhecer, não estando nessa linha nunca é de conhecer, estando nessa linha deve ter amor, estando nessa linha deve ter amor, amar a Deus no céu e a Virgem que nos mandou, amar a Deus no céu e a Virgem que nos mandou.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Par ma modeste voix, je vous apporte le salut fraternel des peuples africains,
I bring you the fraternal greetings of the African people,
surtout ceux du Gabon, mon pays.
especially those of Gabon, my home country.
Lorsque j'avais reçu l'invitation de Bioneers,
When I received the invitation from Bioneers,
qui me demandait de parler des plantes sacrées,
I was asked to speak about sacred plants.
j'ai beaucoup réfléchi
I thought deeply about it,
sur la manière de vous faire comprendre une partie de notre culture.
on the best way to explain to you one part of our tradition.
Alors, comme la nuit porte conseil, alors que la nuit porte conseil,
As the night brings advice and counsel,
j'ai préféré vous écrire ces quelques lignes.
I preferred to write down what I was going to say.
Au-delà des diversités,
Beyond our differences,
au-delà du temps et de l'espace,
beyond time and space,
les peuples africains,
the African people,
singulièrement ceux du Gabon,
especially those of Gabon,
sont dépositaires d'une connaissance venue d'une conscience perceptive
are the repositories of a knowledge, of a sensitivity
qui leur permet de traverser la vie
that permits them to go through life
sans vivre dans l'ignorance des deux mondes,
without living in ignorance,
ni dans l'angoisse du temps qui passe.
neither with any anxiety about passing time.
Les plantes ont toujours joué un rôle déterminant
Plants have always played a determining role
dans la vie des êtres humains,
in the life of human beings,
surtout dans le domaine de l'alimentation,
especially in food,
de la santé
health,
et de la spiritualité.
and in spirituality.
Parmi elles,
Among these plants,
il y a les plantes maîtresses,
there are master plants,
appelées communément plantes sacrées.
known as sacred plants.
La plante sacrée des Gabonais est lboga.
The sacred plant of the people of Gabon is iboga.
Elle vient de la forêt,
It comes from the forest,
quelque part au cœur du Gabon profond,
somewhere from the very deep heart of the Gabonese forest,
où persiste la pulsation d'une vie très ancienne,
where there's a very ancient way of life that persists,
lente
slow
et régulière.
and regular life.
C'est un groupe de gens,
It's a group of people,
les pygmées,
the pygmies,
qui vivent en contact permanent avec la nature,
who live in close contact with nature permanently,
qui auraient eu l'idée de manger la racine sacrée.
who first had the idea of eating this sacred plant, the sacred root.
Ils avaient pris l'exemple sur certains animaux
They had taken the example of certain animals.
en observant leur comportement
When they observed the behavior of these animals,
après l'ingestion de la racine de l'iboga dont ils sont friands.
after they had noticed that these animals were liked this root and they watched their behavior upon their inebriation.
Meilleurs connaisseurs et défenseurs de la biodiversité,
They are the best defenders of biodiversity.
les pygmées se soucient surtout
The pygmies especially concern themselves with
de l'environnement
their environment
et de la spiritualité.
and their spiritual lives.
Pour eux,
For them,
c'est l'essentiel,
that's the main thing.
la vérité qui n'a pas de mots, et comprendre cette vérité équivaut à mieux comprendre l'être humain.
This truth is beyond words, and understanding this truth is the most important thing for human beings.
Les plantes sacrées sont porteuses de l'influx vital total.
The sacred plants are the vehicles of an influx of the main life force,
D'où le caractère fortement ritualisé
hence the very ritualized character
des initiations
of the initiations,
régies par une liturgie stricte et ponctuée sous la responsabilité d'un maître de la harpe ou de l'arc musical.
and all this is done under the guidance of a master spiritual master, who's also a master musician of the sacred harp.
Le savoir médico-traditionnel possède une connaissance de la tradition millénaire
This medico-spiritual tradition goes back thousands of years,
permettant d'établir une communication efficace avec les plantes,
which permits an effective communication with these plants,
ou plutôt avec l'esprit des plantes.
or rather with the spirit of these plants.
C'est dans ce sens
It's in that sense
qu'il est dit d'ailleurs,
that it's said,
l'esprit de la plante
the spirit of the plant
ne dévoilera au sujet que ce qu'il est capable de voir et d'entendre.
will only reveal to one who is prepared to hear and to understand the teaching.
C'est dans ce contexte aussi
It's in this context
que se différencient
that are differentiated.
les visions et les hallucinations.
The visions and the hallucinations depend on this preparedness to understand what one is given.
L'iboga est une plante thérapeutique et divinatoire.
It's a healing and a divinatory plant.
En plus, elle supprime la sensation de fatigue,
It suppresses fatigue
de la soif
thirst.
et de la faim.
and hunger.
Elle a l'avantage de ne pas engendrer de dépendance.
It is not at all habit forming.
Les plantes sacrées
Sacred plants
ont permis de développer les facultés psychiques et spirituelles de l'homme
have permitted humanity to develop its spiritual and psychic capabilities.
Elles ont aussi facilité l'exercice du langage sacré
They have also facilitated the birth of sacred language,
qui accompagne certains rites marquant des événements importants.
which are used to mark certain very important rites of passage.
Naissance, mariage,
Births, deaths,
décès,
deaths, marriages,
initiation,
initiations,
etc.
and so on.
Voir et savoir.
To know and to see.
L'entrée au rite sacré de l'iboga est libre,
The admission to the sacred rite of Iboga is free,
sans contrainte,
with no coercion,
sans distinction de race,
without any discrimination of race,
de rang social
social standing,
ou de religion.
or religion.
Le Bwiti est le rite fondateur de l'iboga.
The Bwiti is the foundational rite of Iboga.
Les deux sont indissociables.
The two cannot be separated.
S'initier à l'iboga, c'est mourir et revivre librement.
Being initiated into Iboga is to die and to be reborn into freedom.
Les cérémonies qui régissent l'initiation revêtent un caractère d'humilité.
The characteristic of the ritual is permeated by humility.
Le néophyte entre dans le site sacré,
The neophyte enters the sacred initiatory site,
les mains nues,
bare with nothing on their hands,
le corps à moitié découvert,
bare-chested,
avec ses chaussures naturelles.
and just no shoes, barefoot.
Il s'assoit sur la terre-mère,
They sit on the ground,
celle qu'il a vue naître,
on the earth that has seen him or her born,
qui l'a nourri
who nourished him or her,
et qui l'accueillera le moment venu.
and who will greet him or her upon their death.
Le maître initiateur est là,
The master initiator is there,
familier des lois universelles qui allient les mondes et régissent les règnes végétal, minéral et humain.
This master is deeply knowledgeable about the universal laws that unite the vegetable, mineral, and animal kingdoms.
Entouré de ses assistants,
Surrounded by his assistants,
il encadre et aide le nouvel initié
he guides the new initiate
à découvrir et à faire ses premiers pas
to take his first steps
vers le monde autre
towards the other world,
qui est aussi celui des morts.
which is also the realm of the dead.
Pour ces derniers, l'homme et son environnement font partie d'un ensemble dont il faut avant tout respecter l'équilibre.
Humanity and its environment are part of a whole, and above all, that equilibrium must be respected.
Ces expériences sont donc le franchissement d'un seuil,
These experiences permit one to cross a passage,
d'une interface entre deux mondes,
a threshold between worlds,
deux univers,
two universes,
et le principe des techniques de médecine traditionnelle,
and the techniques of traditional medicine,
initiatique,
initiatory medicine,
permet de franchir ce seuil
and permit us to cross this threshold
presque à volonté
almost at will
et dans les deux sens.
and in both directions.
Durant tout le rituel,
During the ritual,
le nouvel initié est lucide.
the new initiate is lucid,
L'activité corporelle est normale.
with normal bodily functions.
Tous les cinq sens sont en éveil.
All five senses functioning perfectly.
Le guérisseur qui utilise la plante sacrée dans un souci thérapeutique,
Dans un souci, pardon, the master initiator who's using the iboga in a therapeutic context,
dans un souci thérapeutique ou spirituel pour son peuple,
or a spiritual one for his people,
ne raisonne pas en termes de plantes psychotropes.
it does not think of this, does not view iboga as a psychotropic drug.
Induisant des effets psychiques,
With psychic effects,
mais en termes de plantes sacrées,
but in terms of sacred plants,
de plantes d'enseignement,
in teaching plants, in terms of teaching plants,
de plantes de guérison
of healing plants
ou d'initiation,
for initiation,
qui permettent aux hommes de découvrir
which permits human beings to discover,
dans un autre état de conscience,
in another state of consciousness,
la mémoire sombre et lumineuse de leur propre histoire,
both the dark and the light history of their story,
et par là même d'accéder à une autre lecture de l'histoire du monde.
and in that way achieve a different reading of the history of the world.
Nos zones d'ombre,
Our zones of darkness,
nos dimensions non régénérées,
our non-regenerated aspects,
refus,
our refusals,
peur,
our fears,
violence,
our violence,
etc.,
and so on,
tant qu'elles restent cachées,
as long as they are hidden and unexpressed,
ne peuvent que nous tyranniser.
can only lord over us.
Par notre initiation,
Through our initiation,
la compréhension s'éveille
our comprehension awakens,
et toutes nos passions
and all our passions
sont réorientées vers l'amour.
are reoriented towards love.
Et ce n'est que lorsque nous sommes libérés
And it's only after we are liberated
que le voile s'est déchiré enfin
that the veil is finally torn
et que nous voyons ce que nous sommes en réalité,
and that we see what we are in reality.
que nous commençons seulement à pressentir ce qu'est la vie.
That we begin to understand what life is really about.
Mais que nous apporte l'initiation?
But what does initiation bring to us?
A priori, l'initiation est la science de l'esprit.
Initiation is a science of spirit.
L'humanité a grandement besoin du plan spirituel et moral en ces temps de crise identitaire et spirituelle.
In this time of a spiritual and a crisis of identity, humanity desperately needs these healing plants.
L'initiation traditionnelle africaine
Traditional African initiation
est l'une des plus passionnantes formations
is one of the most important traditions
parce qu'elle offre un large éventail de sujets de réflexion et d'action.
because it offers a wide spectrum of wisdom and knowledge.
Les rites initiatiques
The initiatory rite
se fondent sur l'amour au sens large du terme.
is based on love in the widest sense of that term.
Ils permettent aux pratiquants
It permits those who practice this tradition
de connaître la genèse du monde
to understand the genesis of the world
et les règles qui régissent une vie sociale saine et paisible.
and the rules that regulate a sane and peaceful life.
L'initiation passe d'abord par des phases d'introspection
Initiation first passes through stages of introspection
et vise à marquer une rupture avec le monde profane.
and aims to break our ties to the profane world.
Le voyage initiatique s'apparente
The initiatory voyage is like
à des retrouvailles avec des sensations enfuies au fond de notre être.
it permits us to discover hidden truths within ourselves.
Les plantes sacrées
Sacred plants
nous font revivre ce film d'une manière vivante.
permit us to relive this movie in a very vivid way.
C'est une école où l'on apprend à se connaître
It's a school in which we get to know ourselves
et à se réconcilier avec soi-même.
and to reconcile ourselves with ourselves.
Ainsi, l'initiation traditionnelle
Thus, traditional initiation
octroie un droit de passage.
gives one a rite of passage.
C'est un passeport sans lequel
It's a passport without which
il est impossible de pénétrer un plan spirituel.
without which you cannot penetrate to a spiritual realm.
Elle sert aussi de phare et de soutien.
It also serves as a lantern and a support system.
Elle branche littéralement celui qui en bénéficie.
Oh, pardon.
Elle branche littéralement celui qui en bénéficie
It permits the person who benefits from it,
sur un courant nouveau
it branches that person on a new current, like an electrical current.
et l'initié peut alors user de cette énergie
An initiate can therefore draw upon this new energy
de telle sorte qu'il ne reste plus qu'à l'agrandir
in such a way that it can only help to enlarge his or her life
dans des proportions dont chacun est personnellement capable.
into one's full potential.
Elle garde une incroyable authenticité
They possess an extraordinary authenticity
suivant les espaces et le temps.
across space and time.
La singularité de l'initiation traditionnelle
Traditional initiation
réside dans le pouvoir accordé à chaque initié
the power of traditional initiation resides within each individual initiate
de devenir,
to become,
pour soi-même et pour autrui,
for his or herself and for others.
une courroie de transmission
It gives you the power to become a source of transmission to others
entre le monde visible et invisible.
and to negotiate between the visible and the invisible worlds.
Il est néanmoins important de souligner
it is very important nonetheless to underline
que la science africaine
that African science
n'est pas seulement empirique,
is not only empirical,
comme on le croit,
as some people might think,
elle est aussi théorique,
it's also profoundly theoretical,
symbolique
symbolic,
et s'applique avec une dimension cosmique
and possesses a cosmic dimension,
jamais égalée.
an unequaled cosmic dimension.
Ainsi, on ne se défait pas facilement d'une expérience initiale.
In other words, one cannot take an initiatory experience lightly.
Elle vous reste chevillée au corps et à l'esprit.
It stays rooted to your mind and your body for life.
Enfin, toutes ces formations physiques,
All these physical formations, manifestations,
morales et spirituelles,
moral and spiritual and physical,
visent à garantir la valeur,
to guarantee the worth, the value
qui assure le plus solidement
that assures
le statut de l'être humain,
most fully the stature of a human being,
à savoir
the standing of human being,
la dignité
to wit, dignity
et l'égalité.
and equality.
Lboga,
Iboga,
est-ce un divin ou un démon?
is Iboga demonic or divine? This is
Longtemps rejeté par certaines civilisations occidentales,
long rejected by many Occidental cultures and colonial powers.
la plante sacrée des Gabonais connaît depuis un quart de siècle
For about 25 years now, there's been a resurrection of
une grande évolution
and a big, profound evolution in the use and acceptance of Iboga.
une régénération
A regeneration
aux résultats prometteurs.
with very promising results.
Aujourd'hui,
Today,
d'éminents scientifiques
very eminent scientists
se font initier
are getting initiated
par ceux qu'on appelait autrefois des sorciers,
by people that they would have dismissed as sorcerers not so long ago,
qui acceptent de partager ce qu'ils gardaient auparavant pour eux.
to participate in this initiation.
Ils acceptent de lever le voile
They accept to lift the veil
parce que notre époque appelle au rapprochement des cultures.
because this period in history is asking of us that cultures come closer together.
C'est parce que la forêt et l'histoire de l'Afrique
And it's because the African forest and traditions
sont toujours présentes
are still there, somewhat intact,
que l'humanité revient progressivement vers l'usage chronique des potentialités médicinales
that humanity, that it's possible for humanity to return to the use of these sacred plants.
à partir des extraits naturels. À partir des extraits naturels.
Based on natural plants, natural extract.
C'est parce que l'Afrique,
It's because Africa,
malgré les mutations qui lui ont été imposées,
despite the colonialism and the history that was imposed upon it,
a su garder ses traditions ancestrales.
has known how to keep its ancestral traditions alive.
L'ensemble des fléaux qui agressent le monde
The totality of the threats that engulf the world,
et devant lesquels l'ordre médical semble véritablement marquer le pas,
for which the medical establishment is starting to get some traction and some results,
notamment en ce qui concerne l'éradication totale de certaines pandémies,
especially as regards the eradication of certain pandemic diseases,
génère un besoin universel
shows that there's a universal need
de réunir les diverses connaissances
to bring together these different ways of knowing
en vue d'une recherche active
so that a more active research combining these
pour
forms of knowledge
soulager les êtres et la terre
to heal human beings and the earth,
qui tous souffrent terriblement.
who are all suffering greatly at the moment.
Un défi qui prouve suffisamment
This is a challenge which is large enough
l'impérieuse nécessité de naître une réelle collaboration
that asks of us to create a real collaboration
entre les continents
between the continents
en alliant toutes les forces naturelles et surnaturelles.
by bringing together all the natural and supernatural forces.
En conclusion,
To conclude,
Les initiations à l'iboga
Iboga initiations
doivent impérativement se faire sous le contrôle des maîtres initiateurs
must be done under the control of a master initiator
reconnus et assermentés.
who is certified and recognized.
En aucun cas,
In no way
l'initiation peut se faire seule ou par des apprentis.
should one try to be initiated alone or with only a neophyte assistance.
L'iboga se prend toujours dans un cadre rituel et spirituel.
Iboga must always be taken in a ritual and sacred context.
L'iboga n'est pas une substance destinée à être commercialisée.
And Iboga is not a substance which is destined to be commercialized in any way.
Certaines personnes non éclairées
Certain unenlightened people
en font un véritable business.
are starting to make a business of it.
Lorsqu'on sort du contexte de la thérapeutique
Once one leaves the therapeutic context
et de la
and the
spiritualité,
spiritual context,
l'iboga agit différemment
Iboga has a different effect,
et les conséquences peuvent être désastreuses.
and the consequences of its use can be disastrous.
Les scientifiques
Scientists
ont pu extraire une molécule de l'iboga
have been able to extract a synthetic molecule of it, from Iboga,
nommée ibogaïne,
which is called ibogaine,
qui est utilisée comme un simple médicament allopathique
which is used as a simple allopathic medicine
contre les dépendances,
against drug addiction.
mais qui en rien ne peut être comparée à l'iboga.
But ibogaine cannot be compared in any way to the full Iboga plant.
Son utilisation hors d'un contexte rituel
The use of Iboga outside of a ritual context
lui confère alors une valeur thérapeutique assez limitée.
only confers a very limited therapeutic power to it outside of a ritual context.
Ceci explique pourquoi
This explains why
je reçois de plus en plus de personnes
I receive more and more people
ayant été traitées à l'ibogaïne
who have been treated with ibogaine
et qui ont encore rechuté.
and who have relapsed into addiction.
Je voudrais terminer en disant
I would like to finish by saying
que l'importance du processus initiatique se trouve dans la prise en compte de l'esprit de la plante.
the proper initiation has to take into account the consciousness of the plant itself,
Comme je l'ai dit au début de mon exposé.
as I said in the beginning.
Prendre en compte l'esprit de la plante
To understand the spirit of the plant
peut paraître étrange pour des esprits rationnels,
can seem strange for secular rationalists,
mais il n'en demeure pas moins vrai
but it's nonetheless true
que seulement avec l'aide des rituels et du maître initiateur
but only with the use of the proper ritual and the master initiator
que peut se créer l'espace énergétique
can the right energetic space be created
nécessaire à la plante iboga
necessary for the Iboga plant
pour exercer tous ses pouvoirs sur le corps et sur l'esprit.
to exert all of its potential power on the spirit and the mind and the body.
Honorables invités, mesdames, messieurs,
Thank you very much, ladies and
je ne
gentlemen.
voudrais pas terminer sans remercier la dynamique équipe de Bioneers
She'd like to thank the dynamic Bioneers crew
qui a bien voulu associer les grands-mères à cette grande rencontre.
who invited the grandmothers to participate in this big celebration.
Je leur prie de trouver ici l'expression de notre profonde gratitude.
And she would like to express her profound gratitude on the grandmother's behalf.
Mesdames, Messieurs, merci pour votre aimable attention.
Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Grandmother Bernadette, and all of you, these wonderful women who are healers, scientists, diviners, and people of great heart. So we appreciate what you've shared with us. I know it's getting late. We thought maybe if you're okay with it, or for a few more minutes to ask a couple of questions. Are you okay with that? It's getting cold too. Thank you for your rapt attention, everyone. But if you'd like to stay and listen to some short questions and answers, just a bit. We'll try that. One question that came from the audience, and let's see. I'm not sure who might. Maybe we would ask this of Grandmother Margaret. The question is, do you or can one use the medicines ceremonially in very small doses to treat mental illness or emotional disharmony or anxiety?
Yes. In ceremony, yes, I say. When we have ceremony, we use the medicine and go directly to the pain, which has healed me, who has suffered PTSD, has been diagnosed from trauma, historical trauma. So, yes, I say yes.
Thank you. And could you answer that same question, please? Grandmother Maria Alice.
Yes, we have many people that have been healed from depressions and addictions and many things like that. Mm-hmm. And we use this in rituals, spiritual rituals, and also healing rituals that are little specifically different. But as Grandma Bernadette was saying, we need to know how to do. It's not something that we can just use and misuse, because it can become exactly the contrary effect. So it's powerful. We need to be humble and initiated to be able to deal with.
Thank you. Grandmother Julieta, you know, and I think you all know, this is my question, by the way, that many of these plant and mushroom species have found their way into our culture in the last 25, 30 years. Do you feel that these, in your case, the honguitos, the little mushrooms, have a will, an intention? Are they here to do work with us? What are the plants and mushrooms doing in this way that they are moving so seriously into American and European culture?
Claro que sí se puede, mientras estudia a la gente. Si solo los hacen, ¿verdad? En su modo, la verdad, es que yo siempre con mi gente que yo trabaja como yo quiero y como trabaja los honguitos. No, dile.
She's saying that, of course, they can function in other cultures if they're worked properly. But when she comes to this country, she works it in the way she was taught, in the way she's always worked it. So she's moved it to the United States in her tradition.
Porque estas cosas, como le acababa de decir, no es juego los que se llama honguito.
Because she wants to tell you that if you're going to work the mushroom, that it is not a game at all. It needs a lot of practice.
La gente que le entiende, pues sí se lo toma ya en unión en su casa, pero no en la calle.
Mm-hmm. That she does work with people when she comes to the United States and does the ceremony and ritual to help them heal in their homes even. But the mushrooms is not a medicine that's to be misused or abused in the streets.
Los honguitos son seriamente respetuosos, no se puede hacer como quiera.
That these children are to be respected, they're very respectful, and you cannot do the ceremonies carelessly.
Porque la gente que se toma solito, después se andan quejando.
Because then what has happened is that people that take it and misuse it, they go into a place and take it in a small ceremony or carelessly, then they come to her and complain.
Ellos se los toman en la calle como si fuera dulce.
There's a lot of people, in my experience, that take it in the street like if it's candy.
Como si fuera comida.
Like if it's a small piece of food.
Pero los honguitos no.
But please, the mushrooms, no.
Hay que respetarlo mucho y no tomar las dosis lo que uno no sabe.
And again, to respect them and not just to take the dosages carelessly.
No hay que hacer como de locuras a los honguitos, no.
Please don't do wrong to the Santo Niños. Don't be disrespectful.
Ahora también, cuando se toman los honguitos, si la gente está tomando pastilla,
Again, if you take the Niños Santos and if you're taking medication,
yo no les doy porque tiene que estar en dieta.
I will not administer the Niños Santos because you need to be on a diet.
Porque yo no les revuelvo las pastillas y los niños santos, no.
Because in my work, I do not mix the Niños Santos and medication.
Yo a los pacientes que llegan les digo, ¿estás tomando pastilla? Sí, dice.
I ask my clients when they come to see me, do you take medication?
¿Y por qué tomas tú tanto pastilla?
And I ask, why are you taking so many pills?
Porque mi médico dice eso.
And they say to me, because my doctor tells me so.
Pero yo, ahora sí, si quieres dejar las pastillas, yo te voy a dar mi honguito.
So here we go. I tell them, if you leave the medications, I will then give you the Niños Santos to heal.
Porque si no, no tiene caso.
Because then it's a waste of time.
Tú estás tomando un montón de
You're
pastillas
taking a whole bunch of medication.
y yo te voy a dar mis niños santos, no.
And I'm going to give you the Niños Santos? No.
Porque solo tiene que trabajar el agüita que te voy a dar yo.
Because the Niños Santos only will only function in the fluid that I give you.
Así dejo en dieta a la gente 2 días que llega a verme.
So people that come to me have to be on a diet 2 days prior to taking them.
Además, tiene que prepararse 4 días, cuando menos,
Also, there's a preparation of 4 days prior to taking them,
de sexo, que no se puede hacerlo.
that you cannot take any medicine.
No puede ni hacerle cariño cuando están tomando, cuando está en infecto a los honguitos. No se puede hacer el amor.
And also, 4 days prior to taking the Niños Santos, there can be no sexual activity with your partner.
Esos dietas son los que tienen los honguitos.
So those are the 2 big restrictions that I use when administering the Niños Santos.
Eso es lo que se hace. Gracias.
And this is what I do. Thank you so much.
Gracias. Grandmother Maria Alice, I have a question because I read that you work with your ancestral grandmothers. I have wondered sometimes if the medicine is the ancestors speaking to us, or that's at least one way that the ancestors speak, and what your experience of that is.
As I told you, I have this blended origin. So before I came to meet the sacrament Santo Daime, already I was working spiritually in the Umbanda line, that is heritage from African roots in Brazil. And this is also a Christian practice, religion, but that is bringing our African ancestors to bring their teachings to us. So I have been developed in this. I practice this a lot. I have this strong guidance with my African roots and my grandma, my African grandma. And I also was invited when I arrived in Mapiá by Padrinho Sebastian, that was a disciple of Mestre Irineu, that founded a community in Amazon, and in which I live already for 20 years. I was invited by him to bring this study and this knowledge in our rituals. So we have also those special rituals there in Mapiá to practice these calls of those ancestors in the light of Santo Daime. So this is the special rituals that we have, and it has been incorporated to the whole doctrine in our specific line that is from Sebastian, this our godfather, we call him.
Thank you. I have one more question that is from the audience and from myself as well. Maybe whomever wants to answer or has an idea can respond. We're a blended culture here, and we've lost the thread of some of our own traditions, many of them. And although there are people in this country who are careless with powerful medicine, there are many who are sincere and who are looking for the thread to pick it up and to carry on. And we don't have the indigenous origins, or sometimes we can't go to the place where you all are from for various reasons. And so do you have advice for the sincere, respectful, careful seekers among us who are trying to find a thread that has been lost? We're trying to weave it again.
In my medicine, the peyote, I seen and believe that it has a calling, because it tastes very bitter and it is not addictive. But I have seen people come into our ceremonies. I believe that they have a calling. My grandfather and uncles used to say, "That one there, I've been watching them. They understand. So they're going to help us back, help all life to understand this medicine." Today it is like that. I have relatives through my uncles who have brought non-Indians in, and they have been with this Native American church for over 40 years. One of my uncles says they respect our medicine and our ceremonies better than we do, you know. Yes, I believe that it has a calling on its own.
I also want to say something about this, because if someone is in a situation where you will not come to take a sacrament as we have, but that person can also pay attention to the nature, because all this knowledge that comes from ancient traditions comes from this inner behavior of traditional people, that is to watch and respect and surrender to the nature, to the mysteries of the nature. So this, even when you are in a city, when you are not able to go into those ritual ceremonies and sacraments, but if you develop in yourself this inner behavior of connecting to the nature, you can see something. And this is why I believe it's so important, this Bioneers conference here, because this is a circle of people that are searching for that and coming together to practice somehow this and to exchange this experience. So we are in the good path, all of us here.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you very much to everybody, and thank you for giving them your sincere attention.